Let's talk some NFL futures. Let's talk about some win totals. What are you looking at that you like right now?
My favorite win total, and this number has been absolutely abused. Listen, I took this number at 7.5. I took it at 6.5 as well. Raiders under 6.5 wins. It's minus 140 now. Listen, I don't see a world where they get to 7 wins. So I don't mind the difference of minus 105 to now minus 140. A lot of people, and even when the books were coming out with this number and people were betting it, they were thinking that this was a team that had some potential injury issues, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, at the time the line was announced, hadn't passed his physical yet. He passed his physical 2 days ago. I don't care. It's not about the offense for me. It is about that terrible, terrible defense. They had a 62.2 PFF defensive grade last season. And they're in just such a tough division already, where if they don't make improvements defensively, they're not going to have the same offense last year that's going to be able to kind of win them those games or steal those games. I have them probably closer to about 4.5 is what I would set the total at, which means I absolutely smashed. Like, I smashed under 7.5 when it opened.
And who knows what type of drama they're going to get out of Josh Jacobs, too. We know Josh Jacobs. Love him dearly, one of my favorite guys. But
Roll Tide.
He's responded a little bit immaturely to some things in the past. Not quite there. I wouldn't be shocked if he does hold out for quite some time. I'm with you on that one. I'll run one by you. I have two that I really like. I talked about this one on Lines at Lunch yesterday, but I love this number. This is a number that actually moved. It opened at plus 110. So I'm looking at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like the under 6.5. It's at minus 135. Are you a Tampa Bay fan? I was nervous.
I am a Bucs fan, but listen, I bet with my wallet, not my heart. Right. I say my wallet has no loyalty. So you're not going to make me upset.
All right. I promise there's a positive ending to this, though. Like, I will make it. It's going to hurt at first, and then we can talk about the ending here. Okay, here's the thing. This alleged QB battle, I don't think it's a QB battle. It's going to be Baker. I think we all know that. You know better than anyone as a fan. Their O-line is going to look very different. Lost some, significant talent, I would say. They lost Donovan Smith to Kansas City. Lost Shaq Mason to Houston, I believe. And, they're moving Tristan over, which I actually love. I think he's going to thrive there. But the quarterback qualms are not going to be exactly great. If that O-line, they're going to get totally exacerbated by maybe the O-line struggling a tiny bit. And we've seen Baker play under pressure, which I don't love. I think that Baker has been handed a little bit of the short stick in the NFL. And I think the argument is, you look at this team on paper, it's actually good, right? Yeah. Until you look at the depth chart. So if we sprinkle in a couple injuries, not looking pretty, the schedule's a little bit tougher than I think people realize. I think if I'm Tampa, neither of these guys are a Band-Aid. You get to halfway through the season, trade deadline, whatever it is. Go try to figure out your actual solution for quarterback. So I do like the under here, even though I had a feeling when I was going to bring this up, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't talk about Tampa. So
no.
I think that outlook is positive. I think this is a good thing.
Listen. I saw somewhere on Twitter where one of the bigger ESPN or NBC said, what happens if Baker throws for I think it was 3,500 yards. And I said, then that means the Bucs win 7 games. 7 games is the ceiling for this team. Yeah. And I'm saying this not because I think that missing Tom Brady is going to be, I'm mad because Tom Brady's gone now.
Right.
But the offense wasn't already good with Tom Brady last season, but he had that veteran leadership, that winning caliber, that pedigree, that the Bucs won more games than they should have. With Baker Mayfield at the helm, what basically the Bucs organization is hoping is he goes to that Heisman caliber ceiling that he had coming into the league, and I don't know if it's there. They have all the talent in the world offensively also, and I just don't think the philosophy will be there either. And a lot of that comes down from Todd Bowles. If you notice, when Todd Bowles took over as head coach, there were a lot less risks taken because Todd Bowles, what he wants to do is he wants to win games defensively. And I don't know if you saw, I tweeted this 10 million times last year, where I was sick of the Bucs running screen pass after screen pass. I was listening to Todd Bowles. I think this was like 3 weeks ago, and he dropped in the line, says, "We're gonna run more screen passes," or something along those lines. And I was like, when I pulled the numbers, they were like third most screen passes ran last season. I was just like, please, like that's not an effective way to win. Maybe if you're like mixing them in. No, it's just like bubble screen. Like, what are we doing? Like, bubble screens don't work unless you have like an elite wide receiver and a big guy who's taking a big wide receiver who's taking out one of those corners. Like, it's just, yeah, I don't have high hopes for the Bucks. I kind of hope they only win like 3 games.
Yeah, that's
we
insane.
Get Caleb Williams, and I'm chilling for like the next few years.
Yeah, I don't know. I see a little bit of like turmoil potentially occurring with like, it's a vet heavy team. So then you bring in Baker, and if Baker doesn't work, then you got to go to Trask. I don't know. Things might get a little weird there at some point. Before I ask you what player prop you are liking this season, I will move away from the Bucks because I want to get your opinion on this team. I know this is one that the chat is going to absolutely hate, but I don't exactly care because it's my show. Where are you at with the Steelers over 8.5? I think people are overthinking this one a little bit because I like the over.
Listen, the Steelers. So every part of me wants to get some action on the Steelers in some kind of way, right? Like, do I take Kenny Pickett over yards? No, right. You don't take over yards for a quarterback. Do I take George Pickens over touchdowns? I don't know if he's going to make that next step with Kenny Pickett, but everything points to a better season from the Steelers. Like, you've heard it already. What they're saying about Kenny Pickett, bigger, stronger, faster this offseason. That connection with George Pickens will be good. Deontay Johnson possibly can't get worse in terms of red zone production. Yeah. And then listen, a healthy TJ Watt, bingo, that's great. Yeah. And then you have Joey Porter Jr., who's coming in to solidify one side of the secondary. Every time you bring in a quality corner, and I do think Joey Porter Jr. is exactly that, it makes the pressure on the quarterback or the guys who are pressuring the quarterback a little bit stronger. So I'm not in love with the over 8.5.
I love it.
But if you say you're betting it, I'm not going to sit here and talk you off it. I'm not even going to be like, that's a gross bet. I'm going to be like, I want some part of the Steelers action. Just haven't figured out how I'm going to get there yet.
Yeah, it depends where you're looking. I know that this opened at like minus 120. It's obviously moved very much. I actually saw this morning that it's moved to 9 wins some places, which is interesting. And, normally, and people will hear this as this show continues, is I love trends to come to an end. Like, a huge proponent of that. I'm like the first one to be like, I don't care if he's been doing it for 5 games. It's ending tonight. Not with Tomlin. Like, that's just not, I'm not betting against Tomlin here. They quietly won 9 games last year. You ask the general public, they probably don't even realize that.
Yep.
Their schedule is actually kind of a joke. It's the 8th easiest. I'd argue a little bit easier than that, surprisingly. And you're seeing it in fantasy too. Everyone loves they love Pickens, they love Freiermuth, they love Najee, but no one has any love for Kenny Pickett. Someone's got to throw them the ball. Matt Canada didn't exactly stop them last year from 9. They upgraded the O-line. I'm in on them getting at least 9. It wouldn't surprise me if they got 10. Steelers just always find a way to win and be a little bit over average, even when they're not.
Yeah, it's just a good team. It's a well-coached team.
Yeah.
You should put a little bit on. I think Mike Tomlin's sitting around 30-1 to win Coach of the Year.
Okay.
Because you have to think there's going to probably be some regression from the Bengals. I'm not sold on the Ravens, what they're doing yet. And will Lamar stay healthy for an entire season? So if Mike Tomlin can go out there and put together, and turn Kenny Pickett into this Ben Roethlisberger type franchise quarterback, and they win a ton of games, he could get the nod because he's one of those guys. We talked about this on one of the shows I was on, is like the legacy award thing, where sometimes Coach of the Year goes to the guys who have just been doing it for so long at such a high level that all it takes is one little jump on the chart where they get back to where they were. And it's kind of a little bit worth the money.
Yeah, I actually like that quite a bit. Might jump off here and smash that immediately. What player prop are you looking at so far?
Yeah. Listen, I was going to come here and I was going to tell everyone to bet Garrett Wilson over
Okay.
1,100 yards, but I'm
Mhm.
not going to do it because I actually think a better bet for that would be Garrett Wilson, Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
But let me talk about my favorite player prop
Okay.
that I can give out today where the line hasn't been absolutely abused and moved. It's Quentin Johnston over 575
I
and a half
love it. I
receiving
love
yards.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
For anyone who follows me, they know how many times we bet Quentin Johnston over or under at TCU. The dude's absolutely a stud. So let's talk
Yeah.
about his makeup and the kind of wide receiver he is already. 6'3", 208 pounds, runs a 4.4, 4.40, has a big catch radius. Now he's going to a team that is going to try to elevate their passing game. Last year, they only averaged close to 25 points per game.
Yeah.
They bring in Kellen Moore, and when Kellen Moore was calling the plays for the Dallas Cowboys, I think they threw for 3,900 yards last year. And when I was reading one of his press clippings from last week, we were talking about what expectations you have when you go to LA. What are you going to do? What's your main goal? And he says he wants to change the philosophy of the team, of the offense, and wants them to produce more offensively. And how is he going to do that? The guy who just got the bag, Justin Herbert, he is going to elevate his game.
Yeah.
So I was like looking at numbers too, right? Like I was looking around, I was like, what did the supporting cast do last year for the Chargers? Josh Palmer, he caught 769 yards. DeAndre Carter, who's no longer with the team, 538. These are guys who, no offense to them, don't have the ceiling, nor do they have the makeup of a Quentin Johnston. Now you mix in two guys, the number one receiving option, and then the slot receiver, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. You mix in those guys with how many injuries they have, how much time they miss off the field. It just boosts the ceiling for Quentin Johnston. I played this on DraftKings. I want to be very transparent. I played it where they have to at least play one snap this season. Okay. So if he gets hurt in training camp and doesn't play the season, I won't lose the money. It'll just void. But I mean, I love this. I love this line. I want every part of him in best ball because I think he's a great best ball player. Just because the fact that he's going to be going a lot lower than he should, and his ceiling's a lot higher than most people believe.
Yeah, Feinberg, big name in the golf space, one of my favorite people in the golf space ever, is a huge Chargers fan. And I tweeted out probably a couple of weeks ago that I am taking Quentin over Jordan Addison. Didn't know it was a bold take, apparently a bold take. But he responded to it that it's funny that people are so low on him, even though all they want to do is complain about Keenan getting hurt and the wide receiver. All you want to do is complain about that. Well, guess what? I have your answer for you. In best ball situations, we have a beautiful prop for you here. So I'm with you on that. I love it. I'm about to go full homer mode here. I switched it up. All right. I was going to give a Calvin Ridley prop. I will say I try to jump on that over 5.5 touchdowns plus 100 before the training camp stuff gets out of control. Love that number. That's where I was going to go. We're going with Mr. Daniel Jones. All right, everyone?
Oh, boy. What is this?
All right, it's time. Everyone buckle up. Daniel Jones over 16.5 receiving touchdowns. I see it at 17.5 everywhere but FanDuel. My brother in Christ, everyone, listen up. Last year, he took this team to the playoffs with Richie James, Isaiah Hodgins, and Darius fucking Slayton. Okay, I love Darius. He's been fantastic for us for years. He gets upgrades, right? We've got himself some Darren Waller, who's apparently already crushing camp. I'm so excited. Paris Campbell, debatable. We'll see what he's able to do. But they made even in Jalen Hyatt, they clearly want to have an upgrade in production in the passing game, right? Yes. We see that. They're going to get Wandell back. Who else we got? Sterling Shepard. There's a lot of options there. The big argument is he's never thrown 20 times. He actually has. He threw 24 his rookie year. And that was in 13 games, I believe. And he finally has some consistency at head coach. Everyone loves Dable. This is the second highest. Last season was second highest touchdowns he's thrown. I think he played 15 games, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was 16, I think, last year. But I think to expect him not to throw at least 17 with some upgraded weapons, they're going to throw the ball more. He's proven that he can lower that the turnovers like everyone also wants to bring up. He's done that. He's continued to cut that down every single year. I'm in on him to go over this 16.5. I think it's the only way that if they want to continue to like get better and show that they're a team that can be competitive, they have to throw the ball. And they've got Waller now, and him alone, I think, can push him over that.
Yes, Daniel Jones is an interesting case study, right?
Yeah, he is.
This year, we'll look at how the contract for a guy who wasn't really given that much confidence by the organization throughout the years. Actually, we won't say the organization. We'll say the fan base, the media. Now he gets this contract. He gets another year with a great offensive mind in Brian Daboll, and now he has weapons. And we'll see how it elevates his game. I actually am really high on him this year, and that might be because I'm an Alabama guy, and Brian Daboll, I saw what he can do when he gets time to marinate the meat. He's a great chef. Yeah. He knows what to do. Knows what he 16.5, getting Darren Waller. I think I could buy in on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to track him throughout the year because even the best part about, you guys got Saquon to agree to the year contract. The best part about Saquon too is he's dynamic in the pass game, especially when it comes to scoring touchdowns. Anytime you have a guy like Daniel Jones who has a Saquon or a Justin Herbert who has an Austin Eckler, they get a couple of extra touchdowns per year from throwing it to their running back in the flats.
Yeah. And I think, Waller alone should just increase the rate that we see them throwing the ball inside the 20-yard line, because that's not something you saw last year. And Daniel Jones is actually very, very good in those situations. He just doesn't always get the opportunity. I think that, Waller can definitely change that. You have some other weapons. We don't really know what Wan'Dale Robinson is. We don't know when he's exactly going to be back. He's always had very good chemistry with Slayton. You get Shep back. I like this number because I think everyone is so quick to probably jump to the under because you look at the 2 years prior to that, even those years, he only played 11 and 14 games. That's where the 11 and 10 touchdowns come from. But then he also had Joe Judge. So this is a very different situation. I like it. I'm going to be a little bit of a homer. That's all right. And then I will ask you for your favorite award prop. I do not have one that I love. So I'm actually going to let you convince me to take whatever you are liking.
Yeah, so I will say this. This is my second favorite. My favorite line got abused already. That was Aiden Hutchinson, Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
But I'm going to go to the Coach of the Year market.
All right.
I'm going to go with Robert Saleh, Coach of the Year, 16-1. Listen, I have high hopes for this Jets team. This is a Jets team who battled, scraped, and fought with a cast of characters on the offensive end that was absolutely atrocious. And I mean the quarterback play. Yeah, sure, Mike White had a couple of good games. But defensively, we think about this team. They were second PFF defensive grade, only behind the Eagles. Robert Saleh now adds Will McDonald to that defensive line coming off the edge. So they already had a great defensive line. They re-signed Quinnen Williams. They just keep getting stronger and stronger. When you see very good defensive teams, let's think of a San Francisco. You think of how much pressure they got on the quarterback. That's what the Jets are going to do. Even better, they have a Sauce Gardner. Their secondary is great. Now they bring in Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't even need to be great for them to be good. He just needs to be good. Why? Because he's passing the ball to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson had 1,050 yards last year with horrible quarterback play. We've already seen the comparisons of the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson to that of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I think if this team wins the division, getting the help of the New York market, it is an absolute done deal. We saw what happened with Daboll. We'll see it with Saleh, where that New York market and the voting and the media coverage always gives you a little bit extra. It is my second favorite one. I cannot believe this line is 16-1. I don't normally play this market, but if I'm already high on a team, I got to be high on their coach to win Coach of the Year, especially when it's a bounce back or doing something that they haven't done in a while. Win the division.
Yeah. And what do they get from the New York market? They get to boot the Giants out for 7 games on the road. So they'll be home a lot. Their schedule is looking pretty good. I don't hate it. I don't usually play this market either. I didn't realize that they had, a little bit of a soft schedule. They have some nice gifts in here with the Raiders and the Falcons. Not that I think the Falcons are going to be horrible. You got Texans, the whole whole 9 yards here. They play the Pats twice. We'll see what they
Yes.
are, but I don't hate it at all. I think that you might be able to convince me on that one.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this time next year when I'm coming back on the show and I'm talking about my my award and I'm like, hey, remember that Robert Saleh ticket we cashed?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And then maybe the Giants, they can keep MetLife and then we can get out of that dumpster. They can have it for good and we don't have to be roommates anymore.
Yes.
But you'll be on before next year. I would love to have you back on. Why don't you let everyone know where they can find you, and then I will get you out of here. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can find me on Twitter at Mr. Brad Thomas. Right now we have golf, soccer qualifications, and your boy has been diving into MLB. It's been absolutely smoking.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute blast.
You're the best. I cannot wait to have you back on.
Yes.
Talk to you later. See ya. That was Brad Thomas, at Mr. Brad Thomas on Twitter. If you are not following him, if you are still watching, subscribe, like. Now we got producer Ryan. What's going on? First show. We just made it through. What's popping?
Hey, how are you? I tried to get some stuff hanging in the background this time.
It looks like you made it worse.
I made it worse. You can see the holes in the wall. I was trying to hang a shelf and it did not work.
Okay.
I'm not a big DIY guy when it comes to anything but like video production. So
we might need to get a little Task Rabbit or something going on over there.
You know what?
That's yeah.
I'm not too proud for a little Task Rabbit. I guarantee it.
I'm the first one to get frustrated and just be like, I will have someone else do
that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have some questions for you.
Right,
we did have a question that you and Spencer didn't get to. I was curious about smash or pass on Peter. And I don't know how to say his last name. Kuss?
I mess it up every time. This is one that I always let Spencer. I say Peter K. He was 8th in my model. I'm not going to lie. I don't have exposure to him yet, but I would like, I'm in on him. So I will smash on him for sure. My model loved him. Seems to be a lot of names of guys that I'm not normally high on did rate out really well for me. So I could he's sitting right below CT Pan. I like both of them. So finding exposure on them, not sure what the market looks like. I actually haven't even looked at jack shit for him yet because I kind of knew I wasn't going to get to that point with him. But I do, every time I say I'm not going to do it, these are the guys that end up doing really well. So geez, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm getting to top 10 with him, but plus 450 on a top 20. Top 30 actually too in some books. So you get the same number there. So yeah, I like that top 30 for sure.
Great. Another golf question. This came from the last stream we did. Steph, what is your lowest 18 round score? And that one is from Chris Ahern.
You know how you should never or whatever they say, you should never ask a woman her weight or whatever. You should never ask a woman her.
Would you rather tell us your weight than your lowest round?
Yeah, 100%. No, I will say that I don't actually know, probably right over 100. I play 9 a lot, especially at league. Last night, I continued to hit onto the green in like 1 or 2, and then I was 3-5 putting all night. Finished with like a 51, so it wasn't pretty. But I'm playing 18 this weekend. I will get back to everyone on Sunday. I'll let you know
how long have you been playing?
Since last year. It's like not pretty.
So
yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, that's great that you're even. And
there's
have you taken lessons?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I'm just like
I took a couple of lessons, and again, I said I'm not a big DIY guy, and really straight down my swing. So that's
just wanted an adult hobby that got me out of the house, I suppose. That's not football and drinking, but then you just end up drinking on the course, so it doesn't it kind of completely eliminates the
drinking and eating hot dogs.
Which absolutely.
Was very spicy chat.
Yeah.
Who do you have to win the AFC South?
That is a good question. I feel like it's
from Rise and Fire Bets.
I want to say, okay, so Hart says Jags. If you want to get a little bit of money in on something, I think that the Titans are getting a little overlooked this year. Vrabel is probably one of my favorite coaches in the entire league. So I imagine that I find myself sprinkling on the Titans, but as long as the Jags stay on the trajectory that they're on, a little bit worried about that O-line there, but I know we're not supposed to look at training camp shit, but Calvin Ridley is just like, I think we all forgot how fucking good he is too. So I think that that's going to make a difference. I like everything that they've done and continue to do. So I think that defense is going to be really strong too.
Yeah. Yeah. They were talking on Sports Gambling Podcast about how the Titans are being overlooked as well. And how they're even sprinkling a little bit on Ryan Tannehill MVP, which are real long odds. I know it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, but
yeah, no, I mean, I am probably not going to get there Ryan Tannehill MVP odds, but I get it. I love the way that they are able to like, they look for like the true value type stuff and what's realistic. And is there a possibility? We've probably seen crazier things in the NFL. It's not that Ryan Tannehill is a bad quarterback by any means, and maybe he's put into a better situation this year. We'll see what Hopkins does.
And they have DeAndre Hopkins now. Yeah,
I like Chig a lot. I'm just like Shaw. I love myself some Chig. He will be probably a lot of my first touchdown bets next year. I'm back in on Ryan Tannehill. If you're someone that ends up like punting quarterback in those later rounds, grabbing him, because he could very well end up having like a solid fantasy year. I'm not going to say very good, but I'm not out on Ryan Tannehill like I was. I'm kind of back in on him.
Yeah. Are you in or out on announcers saying getting chiggy with it?
I'm out on that. That is
out
very
really? Wow.
Yeah. Is that something you would say? It sounds like something.
Yeah, I mean that's my era. So getting jiggy with it for sure.
I wonder if you every time you come on, even though it's only been twice because the show is brand new, you tend to show your age a little bit there. Not that I don't know what that's from. But,
come on, getting jiggy with it.
I know.
Is it that old?
I'm just it's not that old. I'm fucking with you. No, there's a lot of things that announcers say that they don't need to say. Like, I don't know why we're still saying penetration as much as like we just need to chill out sometimes. So I think that we could probably add that to the list. I love when they try to, spice things up when they shouldn't.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get some audio drops, like Sports Gambling Podcast app that I could throw in with.
They've got some good ones.
Yeah. With some of these awkward things. All right. Well, that is all our questions. Just wanted to. We have more questions.
We do.
Or did you say wait? Oh
no! I said
wait.
Sweet. No.
Sweet. Got it.
Yeah.
I misheard you. I just wanted to remind viewers that we do have a podcast too. You can find the audio version of these live streams on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts. We'll be on more platforms soon. We'll be back on Friday, same time, same channel.
All football on Friday.
It'll be all, Fridays will be football Fridays. It'll be all football. Golf will be Sundays and half of Wednesdays, and then up in football season, it'll be all football.
And then
anything else before we get going?
We'll be done with golf. I'll stop dragging it out. No, that's it. I want to thank everyone for making the launch party a bigger success than I expected. So keep subscribing.
So much fun.
Hitting like, jump in the chat. And that's it. We'll see you guys next time.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
See ya.